So, I've got this thread here on Twitter that has a lot of very good information in regards to the latest scandal going on in the United States that, in my opinion, is unreported. And so I'm reading a Twitter thread here from Helena Botmiller-Evick on Twitter. And this is in regards to the infant formula shortage that has been developing in this country really since the pandemic began, but it's been escalating over this year, over 2022. And so this thread kind of gives us a little bit more of an analysis of why this is happening, what's happening, and how bad it is now, and how bad it might get in the future. So I want to, read this thread for y'all. If anyone in my audience has children that, need baby formula and you have an experience that you'd like to share, feel free to let me know. And I'll try to echo your experience in this video. Thread on the infant formula shortage situation, which feels like a slow-moving train wreck. First, retail stock has been rocky for months. It was already bad over the holidays. Then a big recall plus plant shutdown in February made it worse. Let me zoom in here so the text is larger. I love large text. The retail data on the current supply situation varies. A custom analysis by Data Assembly found that over the past 2 weeks, the out-of-stock percentage for baby formula nationwide increased from 31 to 40%. That is the chart that is visible here. Now, again, this is not good. I mean, I don't know. Nearly half of baby formula is just gone. The supply is just gone. That's not good. I know I've got people in my family that just had a kid a couple of years ago. I don't even know when that was. I don't know. The kid's like 1 or 2 or something. I think they're 1. I don't know. But anyway, sometimes I would go to the grocery store with them. And this was like a year ago. So, and I know that every time we went to get baby formula, they would be very low in supply. And that was a year ago. So I can only assume it's significantly worse, though I'm not going to the grocery store these days, so. The data set also found a lot of regional variability. As of April 24, there were 6 states that had baby formula out-of-stock rates higher than 50%. Iowa, South Dakota, and North Dakota were 50 to 51%. Missouri was 52. Texas was 53. Tennessee was 54. Interesting, by the way, that these are all Republican stronghold states. However, not all data suggests outages this high. At Erie Worldwide, which pulls information directly from retailers, found the average in-stock rate is currently about 79% across the United States, far below the pre-pandemic norms of 95%, but not critically low. The severity of the shortage appears to differ greatly based on where you live, plus which retailer you shop at. Of course, none of this macro data matters at all if you're a parent who can't get to what you need. It's beyond stressful. This should not be happening. And now, again, really the thing here that is really important is, the chances of you not being able to feed your baby, right now, like I said, you're going to go to the store, you're out of food, you just got paid, and you're going to go get formula today, and then you go there, and they're gone, right? And then, every store you go to is gone. The chance of that happening is not too high right now, but it could be in the future, 6 months from now, 12 months from now. It could be that your entire city might be out, right? And also keep in mind that we've got this whole abortion crisis going on with the laws in regards to Roe v. Wade. And so, again, Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett wants to increase the supply of domestic infant supply, or domestic infant production, or whatever the fuck she said. She wants to increase the, quote, domestic infant supply. That's the quote. Meanwhile, we're experiencing a baby formula shortage, right? But again, the important part is the stress, right? You go to one store and they're out. Maybe you'll go to the next store and you're fine and you're good for that day. But then you're thinking in the back of your mind, it's a possibility. What if there's an emergency? You go to the store and you can't get it, right? And then this anxiety starts to build in your mind. And that's really the extremely painful part of this. And again, if you look at this data here, this is on a bad trajectory, right? We are going in the wrong direction, right? So if people are experiencing anxiety right now, it's only going to get worse by all metrics that we're seeing right here. We do not have good answers for why the infant formula supply chain was already so strained before the massive February recall. More on that situation later. Other than the same strains on everything right now, tight supplies, labor, transportation, etc. One thing I bet we'll hear about, the infant formula industry is extremely consolidated, but is often left out of the antitrust convo. Is the supply chain we have resilient? Question mark. Per David Dayan, as of 2018, 4 companies, Abbott, Reckitt, Ben Kaiser, Nestle, and Perrigo, 4 companies with 5 names or something, controlled about 89% of the U.S. market. The antitrust agency should definitely take a look, he writes. 89% of the market, this is before the pandemic, is controlled by just a couple of companies. Like, again, and now, right, those, if any one of those companies falters, right, that's a huge chunk of the market. If 2 of those companies falter, that's like half the market. So we already had a highly consolidated, rocky supply chain. The situation was then exacerbated by a massive February recall sparked by 4 reports of Chronobacter sakazaki, a bacteria that causes rare but deadly infections in babies. 2 infants died. Now again, imagine, right, there's a formula shortage, right? You go to another fucking grocery store, whatever you're getting your shit at, right? You get some, and then it's infected with some bacteria, and your kid dies, right? That's fucking insane. Like, that is fucking insane. All 4 infants who were hospitalized consumed formula produced at an Abbott nutrition plant in Sturgis, Mich. This plant made a huge chunk of the U.S. formula supply. The plant has been shut down since mid-February as the FDA and company negotiate how to best reopen it. I imagine that reopening this plant has been made much more difficult by everything that has come out about Abbott's allegedly poor food safety practices and management. Standing water, equipment in disrepair, improper macro testing. FDA also found 5 strains of Chronobacter. The incident has raised questions about the rigor of FDA's routine inspections of infant formula plants. The FDA was in this plant in September 2021, the very week the first case was reported to the agency. The inspection did not warrant regulatory action. This is something that also we need to talk about when it comes to food inspection, right? Most of the time, right, I know we're supposed to have like a snap inspection system, right, where like a food inspector will come in just really like out of nowhere, but we live in a society where oftentimes a lot of these companies will either have, if there is a SNAP food inspection, they'll have a protocol, right? So there's always going to be a supply that they take, like there's like, let's say they always have like one like small percentage of their thing that they really, rigorously test, right? Just so that if the FDA comes over, they can show them the best batch or whatever. Oftentimes though, the FDA will give them notice ahead of time, right? People will have someone else and they're, someone calls someone on the phone. Hey, the FDA is planning on making a SNAP visit at some point next week. So get all your shit together, right? And then they, increase production standards and safety for just a week. And then they go back to, what it was beforehand after the inspection. And again, these inspections are like, they certify them for X amount of months or years, right? So you go in, right? And then you immediately, then there is no more dangerous time, right, in food than right after the FDA inspection, because they're not going to inspect you twice in the matter of like 12 hours, right? So as soon as they're gone, as soon as they walk out the door, they drop all safety standards. And this is something that happens in food industries, or in the food industry, in restaurants, fast food restaurants, right, so forth, grocery stores, all of that kind of stuff. And so it's not exclusive to baby formula, but I'm sure that they've got some issues there too. But the real doozy came in late April, that is last month, when we learned that a whistleblower, an employee who used to work at the Sturgis plant, had warned top FDA officials about food safety concerns at this very plant in October of 2021, months before 2 babies died. So the FDA got this warning in October, but did not interview the whistleblower until December. FDA didn't inspect the plant until January 31. Formula was recalled February 17. It was a massive recall, including Similac, the top brand in the United States. Again, y'all, this is not good. This is not good. Why would the FDA take so long? Are they understaffed? Are they underpaid? If so, we need to be funding the FDA, right? This is a conversation we need to be having at a national scale. How come it takes the FDA 3 months to follow up on whistleblower complaints? It should take them 3 days, if that. It should take them 3 hours to have someone sent out after a whistleblower tries to inform them of some very bad stuff. There are so many questions here about Abbott's corporate food safety culture and responsibility, about the FDA's and CDC's competence, about why this industry is so consolidated and apparently vulnerable. One very urgent thing that's been almost completely lost in the media coverage: this plant is also believed to have held a near monopoly of the production of certain specialized formulas that are used by thousands of people with unique medical needs. Now, this is, again, another really important thing. Not all babies are equal. In the same way that not all people are equal, some people have food allergies, right, and so forth. A lot of those allergies, how do they discover that they have those allergies? Well, they're given a certain formula when they're young. They find out that they have a really bad reaction to that. They go to the doctor. They, oh, this formula causes this. It has this ingredient. This is probably the source of the allergy. So this means that, of the list of 5 formulas or 20 formulas, whatever it is, right now you only can do like the low iron one or like the high iron one, right, which makes it even more of a consolidated market, which means you are even more held, in contempt by these corporations that have monopolies on this kind of stuff, right? It's really bad. It's really fucking bad. So let's keep going. The supply situation for these families is truly urgent and potentially life-threatening. I've been on the phone with parents crying in desperation over not being able to source the formula that their child truly needs to survive. And again, this is another thing. A lot of people love to say, oh, just breastfeed, just breastfeed. First of all, right, it's not that simple. A lot of mothers cannot actually breastfeed at the capacity that the child needs, right? It's biology, right? And then also, again, imagine your child has a unique allergy that you don't have, or, something that in your breast milk causes an allergic reaction, then you are literally forced to use formula, right? So this is a situation, I know, it's a lot of ignorant ass motherfuckers that would say that stuff, but I just want to point that in there. Many of these families feel totally abandoned by Abbott, by the government, and by the media for largely ignoring this desperate situation affecting many people with special needs. Chances are, if you're watching this stream, this might be the first time you've ever heard of this. I've been, I've heard of this as of a couple months ago when the recall happened, but, I should have maybe talked about it then. But either way, here we are getting to it now. If this doesn't get fixed soon, I don't know how my son will survive, said Phoebe Carter, whose 5-year-old son John, a nature lover and paleontologist in training, has a severe form of eosinophilic esophagitis, a rare digestive and immune system disease. If, God forbid, a family member of President Joe Biden or Jeff Bezos or someone influential had one of these diseases, this crisis would not have made it to day 2, Carter said. I doubt that. They would have just hoarded everything for themselves and said, fuck everyone else. That's what would have happened. But, I understand their perspective. So as the formula shortage story continues, please do keep in mind that this has been brewing for months, and please do not lose sight of those with special medical needs who are understandably scared right now. So, very good thread, really informative. And again, this is like the food supply issue in general in this country is going to get really bad. It's been progressively getting worse over the last year, especially, but the last 2 years with the pandemic, right? But again, when it comes to specialized stuff like infant formula, right? Certain kinds of like, foods, like maybe like people that have gluten allergies, they need to have like, gluten-free kind of stuff. And, once people with these like very consolidated markets get, fucked up, people like their entire diets are going to have to change. Again, people have already died. It's just a big problem. So, yeah, no good. By the way, also, we need to increase the domestic infant supply, according to the Supreme Court. We need more babies. We need to bring them into the world so that they die in the arms of their parents. Because it's easier, right, to have your child be born and then to care for your child and have them die in your arms than it is to just get an abortion, right? So we know that. But again, this country is falling apart. We live in a fascist hell world, but, what are you going to do? People aren't really talking about how white supremacist nativist to domestic infant supply law. I mean, it's fucked up. I mean, it's literally, it's just like, it's 14 words, but in 3 words, right? It's just like, it's literally neo-Nazi. It's not even neo-Nazi. It's just Nazi. It's just Adolf Hitler's, like, like, it's just his, his ideology, copy pasted, right? There's no updates. There's no, it's just copy and paste what Hitler's doing. There we go.